From New York, it's That Kevin Show.
See, I knew it.
Come on, Kev. What's a few classified documents between friends?
I told you all the time. I knew it. I knew he had some too.
Here he is, That Kevin McCullough.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, my next guest needs really no introduction. America fell in love with her as she ran for the top spot in the state of Arizona in the last election cycle. And guess what? She had a question or two about how it turned out. And not to be outdone, she went ahead and said, let's talk about that in court a little bit. Ladies and gentlemen, you know she is probably on a lot of people's top of the secret list that they have. If Donald Trump was to pick a VP, I think she would win in a landslide in terms of a lot of what voters would have to say about it. But whether any of that happens or not, that's somewhere down the road, because now she's an author of a new book called Unafraid. Put your hands together for Kari Lake.
Oh my gosh. Thank you, Kevin. What a nice introduction. It's so
Kari.
good to be here with you.
It's good to have you here. I see you filling in on the Prager show sometimes, and you're on, been with Gallagher and all these other guys. And think, someday she'll make it down to the little weekend guy, KMC. She'll be here. And look, here you are with the brand new book. Congratulations on that.
Thank you. Well, you just had to ask me to be on your show. That's all it takes.
Okay. Well, I'm going to hold you to that now. Hey, we've got a lot to get into because my listeners are very concerned about the condition of the nation and where we're headed. I felt like going into the 22 cycle, and I said this in my column at Town Hall, I've said it on the air numerous times, I'm not sure we fixed enough of the things that were broken in 20 to have good elections in 22 or 24.
We did.
It looks like some of the things. Well,
I can attest to that.
Some things in 22 looked a little bit better. I'm going to be honest. Wisconsin looks like they've cleaned up their act, but Michigan, Pennsylvania, Arizona, Nevada, maybe even Georgia, look like there's still a lot of problems. When it came to your decision to go legal and fight hard, that cost a lot of money. You had to put up a lot of time and energy to continue to do that. What's your assessment of where we are right now if the 24 election was held today?
Well, okay. Let me give you something positive first. We are closer today, right now, to taking back our country and getting things on track than we have been in for years. I mean, we're closer today than we were yesterday, than we were a month ago. We have made progress. You don't win a war in one fell swoop. You win it by winning small battles here and there. And we are winning some small battles, but we still have some of the corrupt individuals in charge of our elections all over this country who do not want reform. They like the status quo. They like the system as it is, the corrupt system as it is. I wish I could sit here, Kevin, and tell you it was a bunch of Democrats who stole our election. The Democrats did their usual, funny business. We know that. They've got a million ways that they work the system. But the people in charge of Maricopa County were Republicans with an R behind their name. I think the R might stand for Rhino, but they also ran a super PAC raising tens of thousands of dollars during the primary to defeat and stop election deniers who were running for office while they were in charge of the ballot that I happened to be on. And then we found out that all of the money in their super PAC went to trying to stop one election denier, yours truly. Now, listen, if they're running perfect elections, then you shouldn't mind that people want to look under the hood and say, okay, let's see how these perfect elections were run. But they're not running perfect elections. They're running banana republic style elections. And they're appalled that we're asking questions and saying, no, we the people want to know how our money is being spent to run these elections and why they're run so poorly. And so our case is continuing along. The people I'm talking about who run the election, one of the government officials, can't stand the heat. He can't handle the heat. Now he's suing me for defamation for speaking out about the corruption in our elections. So they're going to try to lawfare me to death, but I'm going to continue to fight. And it's unfortunate. They've got an endless supply of money. They've got Soros attorneys that are taking their case to sue me because they want to stop me. At the same time, they're trying to disbar my attorneys. They want to leave me with a bunch of lawsuits and no attorneys who will be willing to get in. So these attorneys who are in our fight are heroes, that they're willing to risk everything to take on these important cases. We filed a notice for appeal And we are putting our appeal together as we speak, and hopefully it will be, filed by the end of the month or sooner. But we're not going to stop. We have a case. We have the evidence. We're just waiting for a courageous judge to do the right thing.
It's really, I cannot stress how important what you just said is. And I think that one of the things that contrasts that is what happened at the Supreme Court the week before the holiday. You saw good judges that President Trump had appointed to the Supreme Court at the highest level. And you saw a seismic shift in jurisprudence in the country. You saw affirmative action and LGBTQ versus religious freedom and a number of things just be kind of set on their ear compared to what modern law systems have looked like. And this is what we need in the election integrity area. We need people that are going to be courageous and getting executives in states and presidents across the country in the right position to put the right judges in place is what makes that difference in what we're talking about.
And we saw on the 4th of July, this injunctive relief from a federal court when it comes to First Amendment, one of the biggest wins when it comes to our First Amendment. We have been under a censorship state. Our government's been censoring us when it comes to the important things that we need to be talking about: COVID, election fraud, vaccines, masks, shutdowns. There has been a movement and an effort by our federal government to silence us, take away our First Amendment rights. And this injunctive relief that the judge put forth on the 4th of July was absolutely huge. And then come to find out that one of the entities mentioned in there doing much of the censoring when it comes to elections, this guy running our elections here in Arizona, who's suing me for defamation because he wants to stop me from speaking out, is involved heavily in that.
Wow.
So
Shocker.
The government wants to censor us, and we're finally seeing judges do the right thing. I believe that there's corruption in Arizona from top to bottom. I think our judicial system has corruption in it. We're waiting for one judge to show the courage. We're waiting for him to listen to the evidence and feel what the people need for relief from that evidence, rather than the pressure that they might be getting from who knows who to sit and do nothing. I think it'll come eventually.
The book is called Unafraid, and the website, of course, is karilake.com. I would encourage you to frequent both. Get the book, get a couple of copies, get one for yourself, get ones for a few of your more agnostic political friends that may need some convincing. Kari writes in a convincing style, as she is a professional communicator. And I do want to touch on this just a touch, Kari, because you ran against one of the most unimaginative opponents in your gubernatorial race of anybody had ever seen. She was barely able to take a question under super controlled circumstances. And you, being a longtime reporter and kind of communication pro, felt very at ease in talking with people. But do you sense that even on the federal level, we have this unwillingness to really tell the people what is what?
I think so, for sure. I mean, we're really at a crossroads here where we're going to either keep America as this great republic that 247 years ago our founding fathers showed the courage to step away from the original globalists, the monarchy. We're either going to keep this system, which is the greatest in the world, or we're going to go back to globalist communist control.
Hold that thought. KariLake.com is where you can find her online. We are speaking with the one, the only Kari Lake. Coming right back.
Ready or not, he'll be right back. That Kevin.